I watched Supergirl 2026. Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, welcome back. It is Sunny Selena. So today we're going to be diving into a movie review, which is Supergirl 2026. I am fresh out of the theatre seeing it. I saw it last night at a WB fan screening event. So thank you for the premiere invite, Warner Brothers. But of course, I'm still going to give my raw and honest thoughts. So let's get into it. Supergirl 2026 is the second film to come out of DC, this new DC universe run by James Gunn. It is directed by Craig Gillespie and it is starring Australian-born Sydney signer Millie Alcock. So I'm not going to be biased, but it's pretty cool having a Supergirl be a Sydney-sider Australian, which is nice. So I'm not going to get into spoilers or anything like that. I just want to talk about the vibes and obviously the performances and pros and cons of this movie because it does have big shoes to fill. It's part of a brand new universe and I think a lot of people really have high expectations because of how much we've been mucked around as DC fans in the past. So Kara Zor-El is Superman's younger cousin, Supergirl. So she is got a little bit of a different backstory as Superman. She's a bit more jaded. She's carrying some serious trauma. She watched her planet be destroyed basically from the inside out. So she's kind of trying to find her way. She doesn't really want to be a hero. She doesn't really care about, saving cats from trees and all that kind of thing. She's not too into it just yet. It's more of a progression of a story of watching her become the Supergirl that we know and love. So think space opera. It's Guardians of the Galaxy energy mixed with some gritty revenge driven tones of the Woman of Tomorrow comics. So we're going to start with the pros. There is some strong pros about this movie. I would say Millie Alcock, not miscast. She is fantastic with what she's given. She carries the movie in a sense of she's bringing a lot of raw emotion to it. You can kind of relate to her as she goes on and the choices that she makes. You're like, yeah, that kind of does make sense. She's not a female Superman, which I appreciated. I wasn't too into the Supergirl series back when it came out because it kind of did feel like she was very female Clark Kent. So this one is a very different story. She's flawed, she's angry, she's dealing with real grief of her planet. But her chemistry with this cast was really good. So which kind of brings me to my next cast, which was Jason Momoa as Lobo. Now, I have a feeling that Jason Momoa just rocked up on set, started punching extras, and they were just like, film that right now. This man is born to be Lobo, and I think everyone's going to agree with that. If you opened a Lobo comic, he's going to fall out of it. He did such an amazing job, and I really think that he carried his part of the movie as well. My only gripe was that he kind of just popped up very randomly. I think he's trying to find someone in the movie as a bounty hunter, so he kind of just pops up and then leaves, and then pops up and leaves, and that was kind of all we kind of got for him, which, look, isn't bad. He's a side character. He's not in the comic at all, so it was nice of them to chuck him in there. You don't have to necessarily do your homework on this movie to go see it. You can walk in with a blank slate of no knowledge and you will get the message. It's very clear, delivered to you. So they do a good job at making you understand what's happening. And what I will say is that one of the biggest things that I appreciated about this movie was the flashbacks. The flashbacks were 10 out of 10. The casting of Kara's family were amazing. Everyone spoke Kryptonian super well. I wasn't expecting to be watching them make up a language basically and speak it with just a lot of heart, and there was so much emotion even though you don't understand what they're saying besides the subtitles. It was a very beautiful story. So I don't really cry during movies at all. I shed one tear during this movie, and it was a middle flashback scene of, again, no spoilers, this is in the trailers, we've been fed quite a bit of this film already. It's when she's saying goodbye to her dad. Like, it's so emotional, this is the last time you're ever going to see your dad. He's dead, he's gone. Like, it's emotional, it's sad. I know a lot of other people shed some tears as well. So they do a good version of making you understand that trauma and that bond and that heart of family. So now I'm going to get into the cons. So the pacing is a big one. So you get so much done within the first 15 minutes of this film. It is done and dusted like that. Again, it is a quite short runtime. I think it's an hour and 40 minutes. I kind of wanted to see more. I feel like with how long we've been waiting for this, I did want possibly a 2-hour movie. I know a lot of people, don't like comic book movies being that long, but I feel like because we're adapting it from a graphic novel, there should be more in it. There should be so much more emotion in it. There should be more more a hit in the stomach almost. It didn't carry the way that I thought it was going to carry. CGI was overall okay. It was good. There was a few moments, especially her out of space and her hair. I understand it's obviously very hard to animate. It was a bit strange to look at. So some of the CGI was definitely a choice. It was definitely better than what we've had in the past, like The Flash, for example. So I can kind of give them their flowers where their flowers are earned there. They did an okay job with that comparison to where we've come from. But overall, the action just felt very bland. I would say the last fight scene was definitely the best. There was a few scenes in there where she's rolling with a guy and she's flying really fast. That was amazing. That I can't believe that was probably some of the best fighting from a flying type hero that I've seen on screen. But for the rest of the movie, the action was very lackluster, I would say. There wasn't too much going on in the grand scheme of things. So Krem in the comics is your average bad guy ginger. He's not really a high villain. Like, he's not Thanos level. He's not Doctor Doom level or anything like that. He's just a bad dude. Just a bad guy. He has no redeeming qualities about him. He doesn't have a sad backstory. His mum didn't love him or anything like that. He's just a bad dude that kills people and hurts dogs. So I think that does make him a forgettable villain. And I think a lot of people are going to compare it to Guardians of the Galaxy 3 with how that villain is technically a little bit more forgettable, but he did a lot of bad things and he's no way redeemable. So make your own mind up with that kind of as you go. This movie gave off a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy Mad Max vibes. I know that was something that people were saying from the start where, they're going to reuse Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, I was disagreeing with that when I first heard it. And then when I watched it last night, we kind of had a joke at the end of the movie that you could take Kara out of this, chuck Gamora in, and it's a Guardians film. The extras, the sets, the aliens that you see, it's so familiar, which isn't necessarily like a bad thing comparing it to Guardians, because Guardians was a fantastic trilogy. Maybe not the second one, but it was a fantastic set of movies that they had, especially the third one. The third one, haven't cried like that in the theatre for a very, very long time. So respect where respect is due, but it does feel very, very borrowed from Guardians of the Galaxy and Mad Max and a lot of other space epics. So you just got to go into that remembering that. Another thing that kind of hit me a little bit harder was that the Woman of Tomorrow comic is such a beautiful comic. There is so much emotion and depth in this comic, and it's a colourful comic, and we didn't really get that. It almost seemed like there was like a grey wash filter over it sometimes. It did have a lot of just very beige, millennial, kind of feeling to it. I'll insert pictures here of what the comic looks like when it was drawn, but there's purple skies, there's bright blues, there's so much colour that I feel like the colour grading wasn't there. I really, really wanted it to come with the same colours that Superman had, where everything was bright, everything was, the sky was blue, the sun was out, birds chirping. It was, I know it's a space movie, but still, but it just didn't, it wasn't the comic book movie I wanted, which is something that I expect from this new universe, to be a bit more campy, to be a bit more silly, to be a bit more, comic movie, because we've had such a lot of realism in the past. I just wanted something a bit more, again, purple skies. We didn't get Cosmo the horse, sure, that's okay, but I would just really like a bit more, something was missing for me, so that kind of sucked. But so besides the pacing and a lot of the depth issues that I think that I had with it, the trauma is mentioned, but it's not necessarily explored to its fullest potential. So some humor kind of can land a bit flat, some needle drops are a bit eh. One thing that I will give him, though, is that this new universe does have a good way with the music. Like, the music in this film is great. There was, I think, only one needle drop at the end where I was a bit like, it doesn't really fit, but whatever. Every other musical aspect of this film was pretty bang on. Some sections kind of drag for a little bit before the finale kicks in. It was kind of over very fast in the end as well. But it is an entertaining movie. It doesn't reach the height of a best superhero movie. I still preferred like 2017's Wonder Woman compared to it. So, even though it's Gal Gadot. Fucking So, yeah. I think the rating at the moment on Rotten Tomatoes is, I believe, in the 50s to 60s, which I kind of agree with, more into the 60s. My rating last night was a 7 out of 10. And then when I sat with it for a little bit longer, I kind of realized it definitely feels more like a 6 to a 6.5. It's definitely a fun theatrical watch. Like, you know, if it doesn't have high stakes about it, there's no world ending, you know, drama besides some flashback scenes. It treads the water of the DCU, and I would rather see them dive into it properly. So it's kind of going to be very interesting to see where this goes from now. There is no end credit scene. Don't stick around for it. I think the end scene is the end credit scene, and they've just pushed it closer, which, hey, I appreciate it. I'm kind of getting tired of waiting, you know, an extra 15 minutes for a movie to end just to see, like, a hint of what's going to happen next, you know. I'm kind of over in that in a sense, so it's nice to see that that's being cleaned up a little bit in this universe as well. Again, so my overall rating in the end is probably going to be about a 6.5 out of 10. It's a fun watch. It's a theatrical, fun, you know, breakout lead performance role. Again, Millie was good. Jason was great. I think there's so much going on in this film. I just wanted a little bit more, especially since it's based on the Woman of Tomorrow comic. I understand that they took the title out of it, which is something that I'm kind of not a fan of with this new universe, and they keep changing titles and things like that. I won't get into it, but can be a little bit confusing and a bit disorientating sometimes. So go see Supergirl. If you're a DC fan or even a casual DC fan, I think you still should. I think it's really important to base your own opinions on this. You know, I'm just one person. A lot of the people that I went to last night said that it was 8s, 9s, 10s out of 10s. People really enjoyed it. So, you know, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer at all. I would like to know your opinion as well. So if you've seen it already, drop a comment. If you're planning on seeing it, tell me. If you do have the option to see it in IMAX, I'm a big fan of IMAX, so you should. But yeah, other than that though, you can find me on Instagram under Sunny Selena. And if you liked this video, subscribe for more honest, brutal reviews, I guess. Thanks. Fly safe out there. See ya.